All right, there we go. Here we go. Let's do Dumb Bleep of the Week. Dumb Bleep! Number 1 is Joe Biden. It's a whole category of Joe Biden doing dumb things, okay? And so we have this video that I played yesterday on the show. Charlie, I know you've seen the video also, but it deserves to be played once again. This is a video of Joe Biden giving a speech. They have put a pause on his teleprompter, and he reads the pause out loud as he's giving a speech. People start chanting, probably because they were paid to start chanting before the show. And so they start chanting. They fulfill their contractual obligations to do that. Here's what that sounded like.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause.
4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years.
Imagine.
All right.
Pause. Tell him to pause.
Now that's dumb in itself. And I talked about this yesterday. Not only that you realize when he reads the pause, that just kind of tells you he has no clue what's going on at all. No clue. He doesn't know what he just said, why he's reading certain words, what exactly it is that he's saying, or the ideas that he's trying to convey to the people that are listening. No clue. Although he's the president and in some polls is still leading for the election right now. And that's the guy.
To be fair, though, other people have made teleprompter mistakes.
They have.
Yeah.
They have. That's why this specific thing is not the entire idea of this dumb bleep. You see, the White House put out a transcript of this speech, and they word for word put out there what Joe Biden said. I mean, even when people started chanting, the audience started chanting. So Biden says, folks, imagine what we can do next. 4, and then audience member, inaudible. And then the president, more years, inaudible. Audience, 4 more years, 4 more years, 4 more years.
So they put his pause as an audible.
Yeah. You just couldn't understand what it was that he said at all. So this kind of thing is the part that actually bothers me, because here's your historical transcript record of the speech that occurred. And what do? They go in here. He made a flub. He said the wrong word. And it's not that they're just putting the transcript of the speech out there like, oh, this is us posting the official transcript of his speech. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to say pause, but that's not part of the speech, whatever. They actually put what audience members said, the order in which this happened, says 4, and then people start saying stuff. Then he says more years, then people start saying, but they leave out the fact that he said pause. It's a lie, basically.
Yeah.
We're sticking on number 1. We're going to brush by a couple things that we already talked about.
This is all about Biden.
This is number 1 is called Joe Biden. Okay. So number 1 is Joe Biden. Sheets discriminated against Black, Native American, and multiracial job seekers by weeding out applicants whom the company deemed to have failed a criminal background check. And now the administration, the Equal Employment Opportunity, whatever, commission,
another agency,
EEOC, another agency, is going after Sheets for discrimination, even though they say that Sheets has not intentionally discriminated against him. And what did they do? They have a requirement that you got to pass this criminal background check before they let you come work around their other employees and their customers and deal with money and product and all kinds of stuff like that. And so if you ask for someone to pass a criminal background check and it disproportionately affects people who are minorities,
who are criminals,
this is discrimination. This is kind of codifying the idea that if something has a disparate outcome, a disproportionate outcome, that is discrimination, which is then a gateway to all sorts of pain and suffering for humanity.
Regardless of people's personal choices.
What you did.
And this kind of, I know Ben Shapiro got in a lot of hot water. This was probably 10 years ago when he was talking about that debate he did where he said, you tell me why, Black people make up
I remember
13% of the population, yet commit 50% of the violent crime. And so it's like, okay, well, if you're breaking the law, if you're a criminal, now some of that may be unfair. I get that. The whole drug war we disagree with, and there could be potentially more minorities that are caught up in the drug war.
It's actually an economic argument is what it is. Typically, poorer people are going to be more likely to be criminals.
Yes.
That get caught and prosecuted and
Yes.
in prison. The other ones,
The rich white
they
cocaine
get,
users.
Yeah, they get nice lawyers.
Taylor
you know?
Swift, they're fine.
They're fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
Even rich black people can get off too. Just ask OJ.
Yeah.
I mean, God didn't let him off the hook.
Well,
But,
yeah.
you know.
Can't ask them now.
Yeah. Can't ask him now because justice was served. But you know the thing. All right, we got to keep moving, though, because there's a lot of stuff. We're still on number one about Joe Biden. He says, just a couple days ago, he says Donald Trump was very proud of his $2 trillion tax cut.
That's not how he said it, though.
No. Well,
Donald Trump was very proud of that tax cut, $2 trillion.
130 billion trillion. Overwhelmingly, he said that the tax cut overwhelmingly benefited the wealthy and the biggest corporations and exploded the federal debt. That tax cut is going to expire. If I'm reelected, it's going to stay expired. Okay.
That's the key point right there.
Here's the point. Here's why this is a dump. He has spent a lot of time. He has said, I don't know how many times now, that he will not raise taxes on anyone who is making over $400,000 a year, unless you count inflation as a tax. But
Making
whatever.
less than $400,000.
Less, sorry.
Yeah.
Less. Thank you. Less than $400,000 a
Less
year.
is more. Yeah. Do
You
less.
know what I mean? So
He might have actually said that, though.
this is what happens when you spend years telling a lie about a tax cut, is that you can still get away with this, even though this tax cut actually gave more of a tax cut to people who were making less. What they have been telling people, see, it's important that we talked about this, I think, quite a bit last week or the week before, whenever it was. What they've been telling people is that the rich have overwhelmingly seen most of the benefits from these tax cuts. And that's because in dollars, of course, they have seen most of the benefits from these tax cuts. But these tax cuts were tax cuts across the board for each income quintile or decile or however it is that they do it, for everyone. And in fact, what they saw was that taxes came down more on a percentage decrease basis for people on the lower end of the income spectrum. But since they've hammered the idea that the tax cuts overwhelmingly benefited the rich because they talk about it in dollar form, he can come out here and say, he literally just tweeted, I'm going to raise taxes on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he just tweeted. This tweet says, you know, all those times I said I wasn't going to raise taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year, that was a lie. All of you are going to get your taxes raised. That's what that tweet says right there.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to like raise them, though.
No, he's going to
let the cuts expire.
He's going to let the cut expire,
Mm-hmm.
which was also nice that, you know, Trump maybe planned on winning re-election and the tax cuts were going to expire a year after he would have gotten out of office if he would have, you know, won in 2020.
Yeah.
It's always great how they do stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. You know, that's great. Let's stay on Joe Biden still right now. The Biden Treasury Department says we need higher taxes on capital gains because it would hurt white people more and take away their wealth. Whites own too many stocks and businesses, so they need to pay. Now, I read that. I'm like, okay, this person's clearly lying. No one said that. There's no way that they made this case from the Treasury Department at all. It's that people just people just started talking this week about the capital gains rate that he taught and the unrealized thing. Like it just happened. Like this budget came out a month ago or a little more. Like we talked about it a ton when it first came out. And I don't know if he mentioned something about it or what it was, but people are just now catching up to what was in this White House budget. They say while federal individual income tax taken as a whole is progressive, meaning that it reduces income inequality, some elements of the tax code exacerbate differences in income and wealth accumulation by different racial groups, leading to greater inequality. For example, the Treasury estimates that 92% of the benefits of the tax expenditure for preferential rates on capital gains and qualified dividends accrue to white families. Only 2% of the tax expenditure accrue to black families and 3% to Hispanic families. A similar share of benefits of the tax expenditure for the deduction for income pass-through businesses accrue to each group. What they essentially make as an argument in this is that capital gains accrue to white people way more than they accrue to minorities, and therefore this is exacerbating racial income inequality. And in fact, raising the capital gains tax rate is a good way to tax white people to reduce racial income inequality and racial wealth inequality. And therefore, one of the arguments behind raising the capital gains tax rate to the top rate would be 44%, if anyone's concerned about that, is that it would mostly affect white people and not other minorities. So anyhow, there's that argument for you as we move. That was all number one. It's called Joe Biden in the voting channel, by the way.
Joe Biden, number one.
That could have been its own dumb bleep. We could have spent an entire episode talking about each one of those things.
And there's more that Joe Biden has said.
Oh, yeah. There's
recently.
There's several more things. Like I said, I've seen
other gaffes that he had this week, too. It's pretty ridiculous.
It's been a rough year for him, and especially a week. Charlie, just in case you're wondering, I know that this is near and dear to your heart. Climate change has a bigger impact on LGBTQ plus couples than straight couples. So if it's been Climate Week or whatever, we had Earth Day where you're supposed to care about the Earth this week. And they want you to know, like, I know you're worried about climate change, but here's a reason to be worried about it. It has way bigger impact on LGBTQ plus people. Okay.
Yeah.
It has a disproportionate, climate change is actually bigoted, against the letter people,
I saw recently someone was diagnosed with issues related to climate change.
Came down with climate change. Yeah. Yeah.
Now this person looked to be about 600 pounds.
I saw that post. Yeah.
But
came down a little bit of climate change.
Yeah.
Other than that, perfectly healthy.
Yes.
Read some stuff.
All right. Same-sex couples are at a greater risk of climate change related threats than their heterosexual peers, a new study has found.
No, it hasn't. Just so you know. No, it hasn't.
God. Because LGBTQ, SAI, LMNOP plus people disproportionately live in coastal areas and cities, as well as areas with poorer infrastructure and less access to resources, they are more vulnerable to climate hazards, according to a report from the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law. What are they studying at the School of Law?
So what they do in this study is they take here's all of the letter people, and you got all the letter people, and you say, well, where do a percentage of them live? You say, well, a lot of them live around coastal cities because they got to wear their thongs and stuff, Speedos and all that.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to wear a Speedo? You got to go to Miami and stuff like that. And so they're like, well, there's a greater percentage of them that live there. Now, what they don't do is say, okay, well, if you look at the coastal areas, are a greater percentage of the people who live in the coastal area letter people, or is it more heterosexual people that live there? Actually, what you'd find is that statistically, way more of the people who live around the coast are not gay. And so therefore, whatever these climate hazards are around the coastal cities would still affect non-gay people more than it would statistically affect. Actually, you know what? It would affect every single person regardless of who they bone. Every person the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless of where they put their, into whom.
Yeah.
Which is fine nowadays. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
No one cares.
No.
At all.
Nope. I don't know what else to say about that.
No.
I'm trying to keep it radio friendly.
I know. I've been trying to think of ways to. I'm not even sure if I can say bone.
But I didn't even bring a pair of scissors with me today.
No.
So
you can't.
I don't know how to cut this story.
You can't cut it. You can't cut it up. I got you.
Yeah. I don't know what to do.
On top of all this, you have to believe that all of our weather events are caused by climate change and not just climate.
Yeah.
I saw someone post we've got.
Also, I mean, at what point do we in the race and we declare a winner of the most victimized person or group of people on the planet?
I don't know. I wonder who that would be.
You know
what? They don't live in America. I'll tell you that.
Is it starving children with cancer?
Whoever the biggest victim is on the planet is not in America.
Is it starving children with cancer? Because that's clearly not their fault at all. They're a kid with cancer and they're starving because they live in a.
Are they dying of thirst too?
Probably. They're
Do
bet
they
they're real
have
thirsty.
legs or they don't have legs?
Probably not.
What's their status on legs?
Less legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they bearing arms?
I just don't understand
Unarmed?
the rush. I don't like, what does this do for LGBTQ plus people?
All of this, the only thing this does is it goes to each individual group and it says you should care about climate change because it affects you more than it affects them. And so they go to black people and they say, oh, climate change disproportionately affects minorities. So when people talk about climate change, you're like, oh, yeah, this is bad because it disproportionately affects minorities. Plus, it's mostly caused by white people and capitalism. So I'm against that. And so therefore, anytime someone talks about putting money towards it, I'm in favor of that because it's going to somehow help me and it's going to hurt Whitey. And then they do the same thing for all the different letter people. And you can add as many letters as you want in there. There's a plus sign afterwards. It's okay.
Yeah.
And so you find every single group of people that is not a straight white male. I'm sure climate change even disproportionately affects white women.
Yes.
Straight white women are the only person not affected by climate change are people like us.
Right.
We have... Climate change bounces off of us.
Well, we have Mighty Mended.
Okay, I got you.
That can withstand hurricane force winds. Those straight white males invented that stuff.
That's true. That's true.
And we're hoarding all of it.
Makes me want to grab that American flag. Oh man, I forgot about that commercial. I gotta look that up sometime. Okay, that's enough on number 2.
All right, number 3.
Number 3, we talked about this guy last week, remember?
We did.
Power went out, we came back, and we talked about this guy. His name was, Dexter Taylor, I think is his name. The NYC man convicted over gunsmithing. Well, some of the information coming out from the trial is concerning to me. You see, they were going to make a civil rights / Second Amendment argument. Now imagine you're making guns, and you're like, hey, I'm an American and I've got an inherent right to make guns. Okay, so their defense team decides that they're going to come in here and they're going to make this great, well thought out argument about how this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got to remember to edit that out, but whatever.
18 minutes.
And so they're going to make that argument. And as soon as they start to make this argument, the judge says, Charlie,
do not bring the Second Amendment into this courtroom. It doesn't exist here. So you can't argue Second Amendment. This is New York.
By the way, Charlie, that was in their opening statement. The judge interrupted you know how you have your opening closing arguments from the... Typically, you don't see a ton of interruptions in that. The judge interrupted the opening arguments multiple times, dismissed the jury, had him leave, and was like, no Second Amendment here. This is it. This is New York.
Yeah. I will say there's a positive thing about this, though, because this is on the record.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so this is easily going to be appealed now. Whatever this judge decides, it doesn't matter.
No. Because
this is easily, I think, going to be appealed, perhaps all the way to the Supreme Court if they keep making stupid mistakes like this.
Now, what they could have said, this would have been different if the judge would have said, hey, we're not arguing the Constitution here. Like, New York has a law, and we're arguing about whether or not you broke that law. You want to argue about the Constitution and your Second Amendment rights, you got to go above us. You got to go to the state Supreme Court, district court, U.S. Supreme Court, and that's where we'll talk about whether or not your Second Amendment rights being violated. But right here, New York has a law, and we're deciding whether or not you broke this law. And that's the job of this local judge right here to make that decision. Instead, she said, you can't argue the Second Amendment. This is New York.
Yeah. Concrete jungle.
Yeah.
Where dreams are made of, except if they're gun dreams. Yeah. Unless you want to be a gunsmith.
Are you ready for the Civil War?
The boog?
Yeah, you ready for the old boog that happened?
I don't know, man.
Man, we gotta keep going here, even though I just skipped past like 4 slides worth of information, because this girl solved all of our problems. When you look at her, you think that girl is probably really smart, and she's going to be able to solve most of our problems, I bet.
How many filters does she have on?
I don't know. That's definitely not her face.
Yeah.
We know that. Do we need to give a PSA right now about girls not actually showing people their faces because it drives me nuts? I don't know who started this trend. I don't believe either that it was men. I really don't.
Yeah. The whole makeup and filters and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not. Men want to see what you actually look like.
Yeah.
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 Like what is,
because we can't judge you until then.
yeah. Show us your face. Your real face.
Okay. Anyhow, she's going to solve inflation. I regret to tell you that this person actually seems to be serious. And I need you to keep that in mind.
Okay.
While we're watching the video, that this is actually being serious. So here we go.
Right. USA is in debt. Everybody's in debt. Why don't we just print more money? And hold on, because I've heard the whole inflation, it'll go up topic. Well, just don't. Just don't make it go up. Just get the printers going. Let's print some more money. Like, aren't we the ones printing money? Hold on.
How many Adderalls did she take before making this?
All of them.
Make paper. The paper is money. Okay. So we cut down more trees. Snip, snip. And we print some more money. The
Money's
world
not made out of paper.
Would be a better place if I was president. No inflation. Nothing goes up. We just print more money. We don't just give it away, but we print it and then we're not in debt anymore. Because aren't we like
Slay,
a lot
queen.
in debt? I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
But like for real though, should I like go tell the president? Like, hey, I know we were having some financial.
He would probably listen to you.
I just had a little idea.
Why would you tell the president he's already doing this?
Isn't it just like that simple? I feel like so many world problems are just like have really simple solutions. Like what other? I mean, I guess the printers, they cost some money. Maybe labor.
You know what? I'm not even mad.
Me either.
I'm envious. I really am.
Ignorance
like I
is
wish.
bliss.
Yes, it is. I wish I could float through life like this. You know, and I'm not going to make any assumptions. I mean, maybe, you know, daddy bought her that car potentially. It's not going to make any assumptions.
She's
like
probably,
that.
her dad's probably in the gas station. She's probably in the passenger seat making a video right now.
But just, I'm envious of just the way she can just solve problems.
I know.
You know, and it just all makes sense easily in her head.
Mm-hmm.
This is perfect.
You know what the more sad part about this is that
She probably has a college degree.
She's probably going to go to Columbia or Harvard or something like that. I don't know. And the problem is someone is going to validate her feelings on this. You're like, oh, no, those people dragging you on TikTok right now. No, don't listen to them. You're right. We do need to do this kind of thing, you know? And they're just going to make her feel like she's right about this. And everyone who's dragging her on Twitter or TikTok or all that they're just the enemy. They're
But here's
just oppressors, you know?
Here's the other problem. She probably listened to what's that other TikTok creator that we've debunked several times?
Oh, yeah.
Who actually does?
She's on TYT now.
Yeah, she does sound smart. Her name is,
I can't remember her name.
I want to say it's Malia or something like that. Anyway, she actually does sound smart. I think Burbank or something.
Burbank, yeah.
Yes, Burbank.
Katie
Burbank, maybe.
I don't remember.
She's probably listened to her, and she talks about printing more money in the modern monetary theory. And so people are eating that kind of stuff up. And so they do think that, I mean, her solution her whole life has probably been like, oh, when I was out of money, I would just ask for more money and it would present itself.
Give it to me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so she's like, we're in all this debt. Why can't we just make more money? We make money. Just make more of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's problem solved. That's how money works, right? You just make more. Like if I'm lacking money, you just make more and it just appears for me. And then I can buy my makeup, my face crap that I put on, and I can microbleed.
I think there's a lot of
my eyebrows, and
there's a lot of filter going on there too.
I can purchase additional Instagram filters or Snapchat filters.
You see this stuff right in there? You see how that's kind of smudgy, blurry? See a little bit of blur right there? There's pretty good definition on a lot of things, but when you see like the blur right there under the eyes, there's one of those filters that makes your face look fake. And that's what people are going for these days, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. You
can tell she has extensions. I can see them.
I couldn't point those out.
Right here.
Oh, did they
see
start?
Hairline.
You see right in here, this
Well, see, this is her right here. Yeah.
Okay.
That's her
Right
normal
in
hair.
there?
And then underneath that, you can tell
There's more coming out through
that's
there.
extensions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
See? And when you see, if you don't have enough hair, you just ask for more hair.
More hair.
Yeah, they'll just give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the solution, man. This is great.
I don't think anyone listening needs us to talk about why clearly printing money is going to lead to more inflation. There's nothing you can do if you just arbitrarily print money and there's no value back behind it. If there's no production that happens behind the printing of the money and you just flood the market with more money supply, see 2021, 2022, what happened after that, when you just flood the market with more money supply, there will be too many dollars out there. There'd be more dollars chasing the same amount of goods that there were beforehand. And like an auction, if you went to an auction, let's say you go to an auction and everyone there is there with the money that they brought with them in this town. But before the auction starts, you go there and you give each one of them $10,000. Do you think the prices at auction are going to be different than they would have been before you handed everyone $10,000?
Yeah. No, you just print more art. Like if you're auctioning off art, you just print more.
I got you.
And then everyone gets a piece of art. You know,
fake art that doesn't actually have value behind it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but everyone gets one.
That's true. Okay. All right, next thing, we're going to talk a little bit about these protests going on the campuses. I talked a lot about them yesterday.
Do you feel bad for her in any way?
No, she's going to be fine.
Okay.
She's going to find a baby daddy that's going to give her, print whatever money that she wants to
She'll
show up in her
half.
account. Yeah. And then eventually she'll take half of all of his stuff and then she'll be the victim probably.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
So no, she's going to be just fine. So, okay. I talked about this yesterday. Greg Abbott posted this post that I don't agree with. A quick synopsis of these protests.
A quick synchrony. Yeah.
And my thoughts on them, not yours particularly, would be that nonviolent protests are good, that you should have those. Okay. And just because people are protesting does not immediately make it bad. I don't particularly care what the content of the protest is because you have the right to protest. Where the difference comes in is, where are you protesting, and are there rules for the property on which you were protesting, the property that you do not own and that someone else owns? Are there rules? Did you, perhaps as a student, sign up for these rules when you agreed to pay this college way too much money? And so even if you are organizing a love-filled, non-violent protest where you're just holding up a sign and everyone's happy and no one's getting assaulted or blocked or whatever, that still doesn't mean that you just have a First Amendment right to be there, because there are rules that the property owners have set out for people on this property. Okay? That's what I'm protecting to you. You can't just say, well, I have First Amendment rights, so therefore I'm going to go to your neighbor's house, I'm going to hold up a sign, and I'm going to live stream over there because I'm protesting.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that.
Inside their house.
In their house. No, I can't. All right?
Yeah.
All right. Greg Abbott says, arrest
Why
me.
are you calling out my neighbors? They're pretty nice here.
Yeah, they're pretty nice people over there.
Great people. I have great neighbors.
Yeah.
You know? You could have them too if you wanted.
Arrest Bean. Send Charlie an email, charlie@goodmorningliberty.us, if you would like to be Charlie's neighbor's neighbor. Greg Abbott says arrests being made right now and will continue until the crowd disappears. This is at UT Austin. These protesters belong in jail. Anti-Semitism will not be tolerated in Texas, period. Students joining in hate-filled anti-Semitic protests at any public college or university in Texas should be expelled. No, that's not free speech.
No.
That is not. It doesn't matter what the content is. Someone else can flip around and say, oh, you're supporting the Second Amendment. Oh, you're against transitioning children at the age of 5. That's hate. You hate.
Yep.
You must be expelled. No.
So these are public universities, which means
this is a public university.
People do have a right.
They
to
still
be on
have
that
rules
property.
for their grounds. There are rules, but I
it's-
don't know specifically what changes when it's a public university.
The problem is a government, it's public, so a government cannot make rules against protesting.
Potentially,
because it's not private. It's not private land.
We literally have to look up the rules on this because they were able to charge these people with trespassing.
Well, it's not right.
There has to be rules that they're following.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a public university then. It should be private property.
We can make that argument.
Problem is, it's not private property.
But then that also gets extended. This same argument gets extended to a bunch of other private universities that are dealing with the same thing right now.
Because they take public funds.
Yeah, because they take public funds.
Don't take public funds.
Yeah, don't drive on roads. Don't send your kid to a school. Don't do any of that. Therefore, the government can do whatever they want. Or anyone can do anything, anywhere, because all of us have taken public funds at some point in time. So that's the problem with public funds. They shouldn't exist.
Exactly.
That's that problem there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Here's my problem. Greg Abbott did not list out any rules that were broken, any trespassers violating trespassing laws that have violated that. All he said was, I don't like what these people are saying, and they belong in jail and they need to be expelled.
And in all fairness, I don't like what they're saying either, by the way.
I don't like most of what they're saying either. That's another person, Josh Hammer, saying your move, Ben Sass. This is having to do with Florida, University of Florida. Arrest, prosecute, I can't talk today, and deport as appropriate for some of these people. To me, it just depends on whether or not they signed up for rules for the grounds that wherever it is that they're going to college. Did they sign a thing saying, okay, I know that we can't have an encampment on these grounds. I can't block this right of way through here. I can't, have loud, noisy speakers or megaphones. Did they sign up voluntarily for rules on the grounds where they decided to voluntarily go to school? That's my question.
And that would be a contract.
Yes, that you signed. Okay, staying on the protest for a minute. Luckily, someone caught up with a couple protesters that were upset about stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
And so it's always good to check in on
upset protesters.
You ever ask, why is this happening? And it's a good thing to know why it's happening.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure do you know what NYU's doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either. I was there up at Columbia and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of cops.
She could not have had a better response.
I wish I was more educated.
I wish I was more educated.
God, again, I'm sorry to keep pointing this out. I just can't help but notice. But the medicine these people must be on. You see her pupils are this big. They're taking in so much with lights right in your face. Typically, when light is right in your face, your pupils will dilate.
Yeah,
they'll get smaller. But she has taken enough Adderall to make sure she sees everything.
She sees the whole world right there.
Good Lord.
Okay, that ends the talk about the protests. We got to get on to number 6. Okay, the TikTok ban got signed.
I saw that
this week.
So they have a year to sell.
A year. It used to be 6 months, but they changed it to a year, so it happens after the election. Because that's how dangerous TikTok is to our national security.
It is.
You want to give them extra time.
Yes.
Now, I don't agree with China. I don't like China. Okay, I'm not a fan. Not a big fan of China.
I don't like communism.
Okay? Yeah. I think TikTok is probably an unhealthy platform for people to use. I'm not a fan really of it either. But I do think that in America, we've got the right to view content, whether or not people like the content, whatever it is. I think that America is supposed to have property rights, free market values, things like this, and that we believe that those rights extend to everyone, and that we should treat all businesses that way around the globe, and that is a principle that we should hold dear as a country. Our friend Josh, TikTok came out and said that they're not selling. I'm not selling. That's what they said.
Yeah, got on a little platform with a microphone.
Or it's later in the Big Short scene with Steve Carell, and he's like, "I say when we sell." That one right there. They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Josh says that, number one, Congress and the president shouldn't be interfering in the market like this. I have a question. Why does he believe that Congress and the president should not be interfering in the market like this?
Because then it wouldn't be a free
I
market.
think because the government shouldn't have this power, and two, the people have their own property rights, businesses have their own property rights, and that we shouldn't be interfering in the market. But he holds those principles so dear that he believes that the fact that that TikTok is refusing to sell is a red flag about its owner's true intentions, and that's going beyond their business interests if they won't take the payout. Therefore, if someone says, Elon Musk, you are a threat to national security, and I would like to pay you $44 billion for X. If he's like, no, I'm not selling X, you're like, oh, see?
Yep.
You see how threatening that is to
Red
national
flag.
security? That's a red flag right there. No, it's not. The fact that you want to force someone to sell their company, remove that. I know the China thing that kind of clouds everyone's judgment because you're like, yeah, they are probably trying to mess stuff up here in the U.S. Okay. But if you remove that, like the fact that they want to force you to sell it and you don't want to sell it does not back up any of their claims. If you believe that number one is true, Josh, you put it as number one. You said Congress and the president shouldn't be interfering in the market like this. Why? Well, because individuals have rights, because people have property rights, because the government shouldn't have this kind of power. And so what if, not saying it's the case with TikTok, what if they say, well, because number one is true and because I want to own my own stuff, I'm not going to sell just because they're telling me, because I want to own this company. I think it's pretty cool. I like this company.
It's
I like the stock.
And it could be infinitely more valuable than the whatever they're offering.
Yeah.
Or what they could sell it for today.
Well, plus when you're under the a forced sale, the price goes down
Yes.
because you have to sell it.
And it's like eminent domain. It's like, okay, you own this thing, let's say property. It doesn't matter. Let's say the government's going to give you 100 times what your property is worth. It doesn't matter if you don't want to sell.
No.
Like, it could mean you could give me $100 trillion, and I wouldn't give up something. I don't know what it would be. But
Which is nice because you'd be able to put on a thing that you have $100 trillion asset.
yeah.
Because
Right.
someone wants to pay you that for
Yes. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean it's a red flag.
it. No.
I think about eminent domain just because I think about, sometimes at first when I was like, oh man, they offered $5 million for this little house that, would only be worth, a couple $100,000. But to them, it's like, it's a family heir. It means so much more to them than $5 million, this piece of property.
Yeah.
It's where the Indians are buried underneath their house and they see the Indian spirits come up and their dogs are buried in the backyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cats are always digging them up.
Well, if there's Indian spirits and they buried their dogs, we have to consider the possibility that those dogs have risen from the dead and are now going around causing mayhem in the local community. Because I've seen several Pet Cemetery movies, and that's exactly how it worked out.
And you wouldn't want to sell that, would you?
No, that's very valuable property. So anyhow, okay, let's so serious. We're so serious about everything.
Yeah.
Matt Walsh gets dumb bleep number 7. Okay, so let's talk about Matt Walsh. He plays this video of Danny Thompson. He's going to Wendy's and he's using Fresh AI, and they're using this to automate their drive-through ordering.
He's one of those conservatives that just doesn't understand the free market.
No,
it's like Tucker Carlson too. It's like, oh, we have to save the trucking jobs.
It's always this time it's different kind of thing.
There's going to be 10 million men that are out of work. It's like, okay, well, they can do something else.
Yeah, so Matt Walsh says, Charlie, what's he say?
Unpopular opinion among conservatives anyway. Yep, definitely true because at least conservatives worth their salt are actually free market people.
They at least talk about the free market.
Yes. But there probably needs to be laws against this. AI is going to wipe out 80% of the jobs on the planet if we don't do something. We got to do something.
We got to do something. So he wants to ban AI, make laws against this because AI is going to wipe out 80% of the... So if I were to think about something that's going to wipe out 80% of the jobs on the planet, I think we should get a time machine and we should go back and we should ban combines and tractors. Because, used to, almost everyone was a farmer. And that was their job. And that was their productivity level. They created food and they survived. And so everyone was a farmer. Almost. Some people weren't, but almost everyone was. And so we invented all of this machinery for farming, which is, it's a machine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many jobs a combine took away? For those of you who don't know, a combine is a tool for harvesting. Okay. It's like a harvester. Okay. No, don't. What, are you going to say it disproportionately affected minorities? Yeah.
I just,
That's what I was thinking.
Oh my God.
Not funny, Charlie. Not funny at all. Why don't we get rid of cars? Okay. Do you know how many people used to shoe horses for a living? Used to breed horses, sell horses, take care of them, you know?
I can't believe you said that out loud.
Well, I was asking what you were thinking, and you you agreed. Okay, I didn't say it.
But you knew what I was thinking.
I knew
as soon
exactly
as I
what you
started
were
laughing.
thinking. Yeah, because I know who you are. Okay. Anyhow, we got a few minutes here. So you can go back throughout history, and you could look at any number of inventions that destroyed tons of jobs. Electricity destroyed so many jobs. It created other jobs also. Okay, cars destroyed so many jobs. Tractors and combines destroyed jobs. We should go back and
Electricity.
kill the person that invented the refrigerator. You know, because people used to have more jobs bringing fresh products to people because they couldn't store it. You know, and so this is always the case. What you want to have is a market where when a job gets destroyed, new jobs can pop up in their place. Okay. AI probably will take away some jobs. Probably will.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could add AI and it would be that much more productive and keep some jobs. So it'll probably take away some jobs for sure. What you want is a market where new jobs can pop up in their place. But we, and by we, I mean not us, the government, keep doing things to make it harder and harder for new jobs to pop up in their place. And that is the actual problem when it comes to technological innovation. Technological innovation is fine. We've been doing it for a long time. It's why we are where we are right now. But if you create an environment where the new job can't pop up, then you have a problem. All right, next thing. I'm going to skip number 8. It was really good, but I want Charlie here for a few minutes of the baseball conversation. Okay, this one's called Baseball Stuff. All right. I really like this one. It was really good. So this is technically number 9 right here. The number, get this, the number of Black American players in Major League Baseball has plummeted to just 6%, offering a warning about what can happen when institutions de-emphasize diversity. So just so you know, what are you doing over there, Charlie?
I'm working. We're good.
Just so you know, the number of Black players has decreased to 6%, and this is a warning. This is what happens when you go against DEI. You see those Major League Baseball teams, they were only picking Black people to help their diversity numbers, not because they were better than other people at all. Okay. As Major League Baseball celebrates Jackie Robinson and his pioneering contributions to the game, I can't help but think about the fact that the league is reporting a historically low number of Black American players in its ranks, only 6%. I think this is a teachable moment at a time when diversity efforts across various arenas have come under attack. MLB, unfortunately, is a prime example of what it looks like to talk the talk without always walking the walk. And I think that's the only thing I put in here from this article. They did not mention some of the numbers that I'm going to mention real quick. Here are the numbers. 59.7% are white. Now, this argument is that we are de-diversifying the MLB. My question is, what does diversity mean? I'm not really sure. Because what did it used to be? See, this is 2023. For white people, it used to be 61%. So actually, the number for white people has gone down. Also, what is that? What was that? 59? Yeah, it's gone down a little over 1%. Okay. And so that went down. What is it? Who took these jobs? How did we de-diversify the MLB right here? Because we're against DEI, and therefore it must be mostly white people, even though the percentage of white people has also gone down. Turns out the enemy here are Latinos and Asians.
And Asians.
Yeah. Okay. And so this is what happens when you stop making diversity a priority. White people go down in the statistics, and black people go down the statistics, and those numbers flow to Latinos and Asians.
Yes, that's less diversity.
And that is less diversity.
Yes.
So my question is, what is diversity? Is now diversity just black people?
Yes.
Is all it means? Because that has to be what it means, right? Because you saw the percentage of white people went down too. And we have less diversity. White people down in percentage equals less diversity.
But they still have almost 60%. So that's a monopoly.
I guess so. It's a monopoly.
Yeah.
They control 60% of the MLB.
The whole sports thing is so ridiculous because sports is the greatest example of meritocracy there is.
Mm-hmm.
Teams are only going to select the best players. They don't care what the color of your skin is. I promise you.
No.
Look at the NFL. It went from mostly white to hardly white.
Just to be clear, people did used to care what the color of your skin was.
True.
A long time ago.
Yes.
That's why we know who Jackie Robinson is.
Yes.
Because these annoying people keep bringing him up all the time.
Yeah.
But
now, these days, I mean, since the 70s, 80s, 90s, at the very latest, all they care about is how good of a player are you.
What is the percentage for the NBA? Anyone have those stats readily available? It's got to be.
I don't know.
So heavily diversified. And by diversified, I mean, it's got a lot of black people and not a lot of other people. And so that's diversity. It's like the most diversified league that there probably is. So
2021, the NBA is composed of 73.2% black players, 16.8% white players, 3.1% Latino players, and 0.4% Asian players. 6.6% of the players were classified as either multiracial or other races. So 73.2% black for the NBA.
Good for them. They need to bump those numbers up, though. Those are rookie diversity numbers.
Yes.
I went it all the way up to 100%. I went full diversity in the NBA, 100% black people.
That's the other thing. You have to realize that players are going to other sports now, too. Like soccer is becoming a lot more popular in America than it used to be. So even for white player, whatever, it
They're
doesn't
even
matter.
letting black people in hockey now.
Yeah. NASCAR.
NASCAR?
Yeah, they're letting them into NASCAR now.
All right.
Yeah. Remember that whole noose diversity?
Yeah, that's what happened when they started diversifying their NASCAR.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, well, I got to go. Love you, bye.
I know you got to go now. Okay, we'll go back over a couple things. That was number 9. Let's go to number 8. We'll play a video. Let me switch this over to just me on the screen. Nope, not just me. I want me with the screen. Okay, there we go. There's the right button. Okay, this is a squatter. This is a reporter who's wearing a robe. I don't know why. Maybe it must be the thing. Fox Morning Show, something like that. I don't know exactly what the reason is. This is technically number 8 in the list for the people that are going to be voting. Squatters are one of the most infuriating people that I can think of. Just in case you've never listened to the show before, the idea that you would just go to someone else's property and claim to have a right to that property, even if you spent money, even if you fixed something. Like, oh, I painted a room, so now I'm a squatter and I can stay here. It is the exact opposite of property rights. It destroys property rights, and property rights are what differentiated America from so many other places. It's why America grew the way that it did and became the leader of freedom for a little bit for people. Here's this video.
If I left my house, say for a month
and a half,
you think you would be entitled to move in there?
Well,
take my stuff?
Well, it's a lot of, I'm not the only one that is squatting. It's a lot of other people on the block, if you want to be technical, and a lot of people encouraged me to do what I'm doing now.
But she wants her place back.
Yeah, but I had put a lot of work in here, and I spent a lot of money. I am on a fixed income.
Is that power hooked up legit there?
My power is...
That's not legit.
It's not legit.
No, you stealing a little bit of power.
I am blessed.
What do you do for a living?
I receive Social Security. I don't have
What
no
happened?
secrets.
Disability?
Yes.
What's your ailment?
I'm blessed.
I'm not going to say.
That's her right. If I left my
I'm blessed. You're stealing that power. I'm blessed to steal someone else's power. Oh boy. Yeah, there's no reason for this to exist anywhere in the United States. Anywhere. All you got to do is send some officers who are supposed to protect people's property rights. Like, that's their main job. I know you might think that their job is a tax collector for the state or the local area that they work for, but their actual main job is to protect people's property rights. Their personal their bodily property, their personal property, all those kinds of things. So you send a police officer, this person's trespassing, they won't leave my house, and you arrest them and you take them out of there. Maybe you don't put them in jail, keep them in jail, whatever. I guess they're nonviolent, you know. You just arrest them, you take them out of there, and then the person who owns the place can move in, or they can sell it or do whatever. It's that simple. You know, earlier when that girl was just simply solving problems for people, it's literally, there's your solution right there. If I was dictator day one, I would institute every single squatter gets put out on the street immediately. No question. If you don't own the property and the property owner wants you to not be there, you're gone. Day one, you're gone. Okay, that is technically number 8. We skipped over to number 9 earlier, which means now we will skip to number 10. That is also a video. I have seen Gavin Newsom play this several times, post this several times. I don't know if it's specifically a Gavin Newsom commercial. You know, Jack Posobiec says that Gavin Newsom released a new ad. I don't know if this is like a Newsom specific ad. You guys could let me know if it is. I didn't look that up. You've probably seen it. These people trying to get across state lines, but they're carrying some contraband with them. That contraband's a baby, and they're going to get in trouble. Let's see.
We're almost there. You're gonna make it.
Trump Republicans want to criminalize young Alabama women who travel for reproductive care.
Miss, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle, take a pregnancy test.
Stop them by taking action at righttotravel.org. Campaign for Democracy Group is responsible for the content of this advertising.
So, we all know that is not actually something that happens. We're all well aware of that, and I don't think anyone has proposed that this would be a thing that would happen, that you would pull over women driving in a car and ask them to take a pregnancy test. That's ridiculous. But it's probably an effective ad. It's probably a very effective ad. You know what? It's such an effective ad that I think that we should start doing it. That people on the right should start doing it. Why aren't people on the right doing this? Is this even dumb? I don't know. This is an effective way to manipulate the population and to scare them into giving you power or keeping you in power by scaring them about something that's never going to happen. How about that? Why don't we start making these ads? That could be cool. We do ads about what's going to happen under a communist dictatorship, socialist dictatorship, whatever it is. What's going to happen though? You're just taking and you're putting Google. Let's make an ad where someone gets sent to a prison camp for posting about anti-vaccine propaganda or something like that. Or maybe they get sent to a prison camp because they didn't pay the proper amount of taxes, or they didn't want to pay reparations. Like, oh, you didn't pay your reparations, you're going to get sent to the gulags. You know, why don't we just do that? Some people need to get on this. If this is how we're going to do ads, if we're going to make, you know, what I just described is probably just as likely or more likely than what this ad is describing. But anyhow, that's my idea for this. That's what I want to do. I'm not even mad anymore about this. Good job. Good job, Gavin Newsom. Okay, let's go over that was being sarcastic about the good job part, by the way. Anyhow, let's go back over the votes. Let's get the votes in. Don't Bleep of the Week voting channel. That was a whole lot of things. I understand that was so many things that we just went through. Number 1 was Joe Biden, and that encompassed several items for Joe Biden. That was the pause moment and the fact that the White House actually just put inaudible right there, as if you couldn't actually understand the word that he said. That's because it's clearly embarrassing that he said the pause out loud, the quiet pause out loud. That was also the Sheets discrimination lawsuit. That was also him tweeting essentially that he's going to raise everyone's taxes by letting the tax cut expire. That's also them saying that raising capital gains taxes is a good way to tax white people, to fix racial inequality. And so that all goes for Joe Biden, number one. Then we have the climate, LGBTQAI, whatever, people plus disproportionately affecting them. Then we have the Dexter Taylor. Don't you come in here with that Second Amendment. This is New York. So we have that judge right there for Dumb Bleep. That's number 3. Number 4 was that girl who said that she has the solution for inflation, and the solution is clearly to print more money. She seemed to be serious about this, unfortunately. Number 5, I'd say the dumbest bleep was Greg Abbott's words about how I don't like what these people are saying. They belong in jail. Not here's the rules that they've broken and the code of conduct on their university grounds that they signed up for, and so they should be arrested. It's I don't like what they're saying. These people should be arrested, should be thrown in jail, maybe be expelled. So there's that thing. Included with that were those girls who had no clue why they were there protesting. They're just there, and they're upset. They're ready to burn something down, probably. I don't know. Maybe not. But they're upset. They're ready to go. Why? They don't know. But it's fun. It gives them some meaning in their lives, even if they don't know why they're there or what it comes from. It's great. It's perfect. I don't know if they were trolling or whatever. Number 6, we really would use Josh's TikTok argument. The fact that they don't want to sell validates the national security argument. So someone makes a national security argument against you, says that you got to be forced to sell whatever it is, and you don't want to do it. You've just validated your aggressor at that point. You validated the government, because why wouldn't you just sell? You couldn't possibly just want to own your own company. No. The national security argument is valid. I'm not saying it isn't valid, by the way, but that's a stupid reason for it to be valid. The fact that someone doesn't want to. By the way, included in this that we didn't talk about because we were running out of time was Charlie Kirk. This is still in the TikTok Dumb Bleep number 6. I'm just explaining these because there was a lot of stuff in here today. In 2020, he said it's time to fully block TikTok. In, 2023, January, he said ban TikTok. And a couple days ago, he said Biden just banned TikTok. He's so controlled by the tech companies that he's risking his support with Gen Z. Young voters won't forget this. He didn't just post. He could have posted, hey, good job, Biden, for banning TikTok. I've literally been calling for this for years. Nope. Trump is the same way, by the way. He literally tried to ban TikTok. And now he's like, oh, no, Joe Biden's banning TikTok. That's bad. Number 7 was Matt Walsh. We should not advance technologically or have innovation because it will hurt people's jobs. That's got to be the first time anyone ever made that argument, Matt. That is a freaking genius argument. Let me tell you what. Number 8 was the squatter, blessed, #blessed, to be able to steal someone else's stuff. That's great. Number 9, baseball. They're against DEI, and that's why they've got more Latino and Asian people than they used to have, and less white people and less black people. It's because they're against diversity. I don't know what the argument is at all. By the way, the argument did not mention that. They did not mention that the percentage for white people went down as well. They just try to lead you to believe that the MLB is actually de-diversifying, even though technically, if diversity means not white, they got more diversified over this 10-year period. But whatever. Who cares about facts? Number 10 is that ad that Gavin Newsom's been posting all over, criminalizing, pulling you over, forcing you to take a pregnancy test before you get across the state lines. All right, get those votes in, everyone. Get those votes in. Oh, go to joingml.com. Joingml.com. That brings you to the Fed Haters Club. Those are the people that we've been talking to this whole time. They're voting right now. Wouldn't you like to vote for Dumb Bleep of the Week? Wouldn't you like to have a say? Okay. Are you anti-democracy? You just want a select few individuals to decide the fate of Dumb Bleep of the Week without actually having representation for your beliefs right now? Who would be like that? I don't understand. So if you're listening right now, you want to go to joingml.com. It's $7 a month. You can help change the world for me by going and paying at least $7 a month. Okay? That's just the lowest amount. If you actually care about the future of humanity, you can kick in a little bit more. But, that's up to you and whether or not you care about the future of human beings. So you make your own decisions and then sleep at night afterwards. Okay, and also go to GodHatesFeds.com. We got a bunch of shirts there. Are the votes done? Are the votes done? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. And it's the campus protest saga. This encompasses Greg Abbott's post, and it also goes all the way to those 2 chicks who had no clue why the heck they were actually there, which was hilarious. That was the most laughing I did during this show. And so that must mean that it was pretty dumb. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Leave a rating and review. I actually mean that. If you haven't left a rating and review, I have a suggestion. You should go and leave a rating and review. That's what you should do, because that's going to tell the algorithms that when someone types in the word liberty or libertarian or politics, it will make it more likely that our podcast will be one of the ones that shows up. That's why it's important. I don't actually care if you leave a rating or review. Unless it's good, in which case I want to see it, but I do care that you help us feed the algorithms. So anyhow, if you do that, if you tell a friend, tell a family member to listen to these episodes, all those things, we'll be right back here again on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend, have a great day, and a good morning, Liberty.